Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Let's Talk Too. And tonight, we're going to have a conversation. Man, Mr. Jhamar Youngblood, who is running for mayor of Newark, New Jersey. Very, very interesting. He is along the line of a bunch of candidates that I had wanted to interview, not that I particularly have what we call a dog in the fight. But sometimes, as of right now, I don't know what's going on with the debate situation, and it's a lot of candidates running. And we're going to start this off exactly right. There was an article in the Globe, Jamar Youngblood, and it said that the candidates running for mayor uh, were unqualified to go against the incumbent mayor. So, Jamar, after you introduce yourself and let us know who you are, where you came from, let us know why you're qualified to be the mayor of Newark.
So, bro, listen, thank you for having me on the show. I watch a few of your episodes, so I definitely appreciate you for trying to help our residents become more civically engaged because we need it. As far as who I am, I'm Jhamar Youngblood. I'm from Clinton Avenue. I'm just going to fast forward this. I grew up, every man in my life was either a drug dealer or a drug addict. I'm going to keep sharing that story particularly because that's what a lot of our youth are going through. So I definitely could understand. But despite all my hardships and lack of inspiration that I had when I was younger, I still was able to somehow make it to Ivy League school for grad school where I studied how local governments operate around the world. So I'm just returning to Newark. Well, I returned to 2015. I'm just returning to Newark with a bunch of context of how different governments from around the world operated. And I just have a bunch of ideas. I've been in the community doing what I needed to do with my skill set as far as mentoring, as far as building software to protect women and teens, protect them from domestic abuse and street attacks. So I've been like just doing my thing, bro, like educating our people in a modern, new way. And I ran for city council. I ran that campaign by myself. I got 13%. I was running on the platform of transparency and giving more power, um, more decision power back to the people. And now for mayor, I'm just taking that message and I'm amplifying it and I'm getting organized and I'm getting volunteers and we're hitting the streets with a message that we need to get more decision power in the hands of residents and let them control more of our budget. Because that's essentially what it comes down to. We got a $1 billion budget on the municipal level, $1.5 billion budget at the school board level. If that money is managed more transparently, more intentionally, more compassionately, I think our city will be better. And in order to do that, you need more people deciding or more people making some of those really important decisions. So that's why I think I'm qualified because I don't hear no one else talking about that. And in order for like native Norkers to remain in Newark, I think more people need to be a part of the decision making instead of just one person, which is what it currently is. So I'm talking about creating a whole new system that we could use with or without me that's sustainable and that gives power back to the people because we don't have anything to lose. So
Yeah,
that's my whole entire point on why I'm
I,
running.
I checked out your website. I actually watched your documentary 3 times. As a
Oh, thank
student,
you.
of history, I was very, very impressed that you really went back and explained the historical context of the city, and to get some people to understand that for a lot of the Native Americans, Native Black Americans, definitely to understand that they still have a stake in the city and understand why they have a stake in the city, as well as the Portuguese families. Newark is a very interesting place when it comes to, and we always hear the word whether people like it or dislike it. It's a very diverse city with a lot of different stuff going on in different areas of the city. and everybody should be prideful. So I was able to, when I looked at your website, looked like I said, looked at the documentary 3 times, came up with some questions. But one of the things that you just said, and I think that I would like you to really explain it because the word affordability is being thrown around a lot on the local level, the national level, and a lot of people running for politics talk about affordability, 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 and you've seen boots on the ground where it's not affordable for a native Norker to continue to live in Newark with the housing situation going on. Prices is going up if you don't own a home for rent, where you hear it, people are being pushed out or feel like they're being pushed out. How is some of the ways, if you're elected mayor, do you want to combat that?
I truly believe, I said this so many times, we need our own public economy. Our Constitution, New Jersey Constitution, gives us the right to go into enterprise in order to protect the residents. I think we have to go into commerce. Yes, we want to generate money, but secondly, we want to keep some of that money back in our city. Right now, too much money is leaving our city via just simple business. When you look at a lot of our black communities, that those dollars do not stay in the community. In fact, they are going to other cities and those taxes are being spent there. So we need to figure out our economics, and our Constitution gives us the right to do so. So if we can do that, we can provide jobs and we can be into business or like be involved in a commerce with the goal of to just provide an exchange of like essentials and not exploitation, which that's what's going on in a lot of our communities. We are being exploited by these businesses, whether it's slumlords, whether it's grocery stores who want to charge 10 times the amount of things. Like we need to use our powers to provide basic commerce to our residents to keep prices low and maybe to be able to produce things of mass quality that we can sell to other municipalities or other people as well. So we can make money, we can keep costs low, we can create jobs. We just need more innovation and to like stop relying on the federal government and the state for everything. We got to think entrepreneurial, I think,
And
to
that and
generate
that
more
is part of
cash.
and that's part of the actually one of the first questions was bringing, if you're able to and you become the mayor, is bringing some modernization to the city. That's one of your goals.
Yep. Yep. And again, I have the context. I know how other governments are operating around the world. I know what's possible. Even so I went to school in Hanover, New Hampshire. The government there was they didn't have a mayor. You had their residents voting on the budget, voting on the laws. Like their residents had more power in everyday decision making. So I have that context and I know what's possible. It's just that our form of government, it was created in 1954 and it just gives the mayor control of most of the decisions and hiring, which is like accountability and the budget. And it's been like that every single generation where I feel like they're spending our money in the same templated way and they're not reimagining even how that money is spent. But I have context of other ways to manage that money. And essentially, that's really all the job is. You just got to manage the money and you got to get city employees to do their services to protect the residents. That's really the main job. Everything else is just delegation. You got to have the vision for the city, but those are two main jobs. And I'm just saying we just need to get more people involved in these decision making or like this type of decision making where it's not just me and it's not like no dictatorship. Because I'm telling y'all, there's governments that are doing it. So we could do it too.
Being, you speak about that, and me being, I was educated by candidates over the years, and me knowing a little bit about being under the Act and being in that ward system, it does breed about a situation that will today look where a person could be mayor for 40, 50 years. And it's like, hold up, you're a legacy mayor, but you still have residents of the city that really don't feel like they have a voice. What are some of the ways that you believe, if you're elected mayor, that you can get the citizens of Newark to feel inclusive, as well as not only just like their voices are heard, like because you hear the same complaints over and over, like you said on your website, um, where jobs, opportunity, the slumlord situation in Newark and across the country is just crazy, and they're going up on their rent, but they're not giving people quality places to live. So, what are some of the ways where you want to incorporate the residents?
I just like the biggest. So there's one thing, and look, I'm not coming up with this idea of having residents control the budget. It's called participatory budgeting, and that's just this idea where the residents get the legit vote on how some government money is spent. So, an example, let's just say in each ward, th- each different ward having they have an idea on how trash pickup should be like done based on their experiences. If they want to take some taxpayer dollars to do some, let's say like a pilot to like test some of these ideas, and they vote that yes, this is something that they want to do, then that's the way right there where we giving them power. Again, I think the first thing is budgeting. After that, we need to figure out a feedback loop where residents are in constant communication with our local government. I'm thinking it's a centralized platform where everybody, and again, I don't want this to sound like too utopian, but I think we need to use technology. So the same way everyone is using Facebook, I think we should have our own version of that for Nord, where you got profiles where you giving us like your needs at the moment, because at the end of the day I feel like if we know what the needs are of the people, we could probably solve them faster and we could probably predict if they would come again. So we just need to collect better data from our residents so we could be more proactive and innovative on how we solving some of these issues. And there's so many ways we could do that, but the two simple ways is a one centralized platform where we can always be in a contact with the residents. The simple and the other way is participatory budgeting, where residents are they have some involvement in how the money is being spent. So those two
Yeah,
ways,
one,
but there's so many other ways, bro. But like those two
yeah,
ways are the ones that come off my mind right now.
yeah. I'm quite sure. Like I said, you guys check out his website. His website, um, I believe, is very very interesting, and it's very what a lot of people like to say is transparent. He basically explaining what he knows and what he wants to plan to implement if he's elected as mayor. It's jmayor.com, jmayoryoungblood.com. So check it
Or
out.
just
It's
Jay
very,
Mayer.
yeah, J Mayor.
Yeah.
Very,
So
very, very
J,
interesting.
sorry to cut you off, bro. I just wanted to spell it. JHAMAYOR.com. Jameer.
Yeah. So
Yep.
in reviewing your website, right, I
Hmm.
saw your love and your understanding of technology.
Hmm.
How do you think technology can be streamlined into local government?
Hmm. Well, okay. Let me start from a very high level and let me tell you the answer that gets me the most excited, right? When we think about generating revenue, and I think this is the first platform that I'm talking about this on. When we think about generating revenue, every municipality uses some type of software, uses some type of technology. I'm suggesting that we figure out what is that one inclusive technology that all these municipal governments just are supposed to use to solve their problems, and we build it, because right now they are using multiple pieces of technology. They're using different apps to do different things. I'm suggesting our local government partner with NJIT, partner with Prudential. We build that one piece of technology and then we sell it to other municipalities. We would generate billions. We would generate billions a year just on selling technology. So that's one area I think, because we got the partners, we got Prudential that would give us the startup capital for it to like go run that experiment. Like they definitely would give us the money to do that. We could hire people. So that's one idea. And but the other idea is we need to create a system where our government can run more effectively and efficiently for residents. So I'm saying we build that system for us first, something totally new that can streamline every single bit of information. Because right now, in some departments, they're still using pen and paper, or they're still maybe using fax. Everything is outdated in there. And I know that for sure. Like, these are things that city workers have been telling me, that things are just outdated in there. So I'm saying if we could build this technology that could make everything run better, and then just sell that technology. So that's where. But I'm also coming from a software background where I built these different software products. So I know what it takes, and I know that entrepreneurial mindset that's needed to help generate money from this stuff. So that's another thing that gets me excited, that we could build software as a city and sell it to other cities. Like, that sounds crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something worth looking at, and being able to not only use to streamline certain services, but like you said, also to generate money for the city, where it would basically pay for itself and the city would make a profit off of it.
Yep.
So we just saw, right? We just saw a historical snowstorm, and the city got destroyed. But one of the questions I want to ask you in reference to it, because you saw a lot of residents upset with the plows, is there a way that it could be a system where, you're a technology guy, where I would know if I'm living, say if I'm living in West Ward and I live on a certain block, okay, my plow is coming through at this time, because it's like you said, it's very easy to track on an app. So for how hard is that type of system to implement?
It's not hard because the mayor of New York, they said they're using a similar system, but New York is way bigger, and they still probably had some difficulties because that's a, that city is nothing like ours, but they use that technology, and I know it would be easier to track because we're in a smaller area. So yes, but I'm telling you, I don't think we have that type of thinking. I'm I'm not even trying to call out a certain department. I just don't think our department heads are thinking like that, because again, they're still doing the same things that have been done in previous decades. Like, we just keep doing the same thing year after year. It's rare that we like switch things up in our local government. So that stuff is not hard. Like, it's
Yeah,
definitely not hard.
it's very interesting when you think about it, that you should be able to go right on an app or right into the website of your local government and be like, well, when my garbage getting picked up, okay, the truck is around the corner. If I got anything on the side of my house, let me run out there real quick and pick it up, throw it out there. It seems like it would be, all the cities would do that, definitely the major cities. Let me ask you about North 30. Explain North 30.
So I I touched on this a little bit earlier. I feel like the two biggest issues right now in our city is that, number one, our residents do not have trust in City Hall. I think that's a real big problem. I think the second thing is we rely too much funding, or we rely too much on the state and the federal government for funding. So North 30 is a plan to help us become transparent and self-sufficient by the year 2030. It's just a 4-year plan to get us prepared to be in a position to really start implementing some self-sufficient strategies, which is, let's think about Newark first, right? It's just like, every dollar we spend, how can that dollar be like, how can every dollar spent help a Newark resident? Like, let's just start thinking about being self-sufficient. Can we grow our own food? Can we produce our own jobs? Can can like residents grow up here and be able to have a career, a family, and a house? Like, is that pipeline available? So I think our self-sufficiency is important if we want to keep North. If we want North to become its own new thing where the people who had control, and when I say people, like the people who've been in North for the past several decades who created that culture, if we still want some of that to remain, I think we have to innovate, and we have to be self-sufficient, and we have to be self-sufficient. So that's what North 30 is. Like, there's details in there on how we gonna make it happen, but at a very high level, that's what that plan is about.
Okay, it's always an interesting question when you ask this. Newark residents in their relationship with the policing. What do you think needs to be upgraded from how the policing is changed? What type of ideas do you have when it comes to policing?
That's real funny because there was a guy, Walter Jacobs, and we had a Central War debate, and they they asked they asked a similar question. And his idea was we need to put more police with horses on the street. And at the time, everyone thought that was funny. But then when you think about it, I think not the horses specifically, it's just having more police, I think being a part of the community and have it be saw as like a real profession again. Because I remember like when I was younger, my relationship with the police was kind of different. Like it was more positive. And it was like, oh, you could do that as a career. And it right. And like it was noble. But I feel like now that relationship is really tarnished. Because like when you think about it, this idea of someone that is there to protect you, to keep you safe, that should always be seen as good. And the fact that our tax money is going to that, I feel like that should be seen as like a good thing to keep our streets safe, especially when a lot of people do not feel safe in our streets. So if we spending that much money on policing, I feel like we should be able to reimagine it where those positions are people in the community that people actually know or people that probably live around them and just figuring out ways to incentivize that. How do we incentivize our people to want to be people that want to protect their communities? I think we just need to reimagine that because we spend a lot of money on keeping us protected. Can that money be spent in other ways that could produce different types of human beings? Maybe.
It's an interesting thing when you talk about community policing and then a
Mhm.
disconnect, but it's like everybody, whether you know somebody directly, is always there like a 6 degrees of separation. I don't know you, but I went to school with your cousin, and your cousin went to Central. You might have went to Shabazz, and oh yeah, yeah, I know since he went to West Side. So it's always a very intricate thing because you know the wards are separate, but it's like I'm just going to go like 10 minutes down this block. I'm gonna be in this West Ward, coming from Central Ward or whatever. What are you? What's your ideas and what's your thoughts on the infamous tax abatements?
Yeah. Just tax abatements, just from a general perspective, it's a tool that's supposed to be used to get people to invest in your city and build in your city. Um, I think it comes down to where that like how much is that investment? Where is it going? And what's the effect of it? I think the public don't know those decisions. And I think that's the problem. We don't know where that money is really getting invested, who got the kickback, why is 30 years, like what's the finances around. We don't know. We just know that they approved this deal. So if used strategically and used effectively, it sounds in theory like a great tool. But if the public don't have no decision making over who gets the tax abatements, who knows? Like, what if we can give tax abatements to, I don't know, like people who believe that slumlords should not exist? Like, what if it's a nonprofit out? And again, I'm just spitballing ideas because you and I just chatting, and I'm just talking to you like we just chatting right now because like that's what I feel like. Because you just asked me, I think it's a pretty broad question, but I got a lot of
Yeah,
ideas on it. You know what I mean? So I'm
yeah.
just going to chat like, what if it's a researcher out there or someone who wants to invest in providing homes for people that's living in poverty and they want to do research and it's like we like, yo, we got a tax abatement for you. And now it's like they want to get something out of it. We want to get something out of it. It's like a better partnership. If those tax abatements were used to create better partnerships between the people of Newark and whatever businesses want to come in, I think is good. But if it's being used to only benefit a few people, I don't like, we all know that's not good because they're not coming into Newark with the intention of actually helping people. They're coming to Newark with the intention of making money. And I'm not against making money, but I'm just trying to say, as mayor, I hope residents will want someone in there that wants to protect them from people who just want to come in here and make money.
And a lot of times, like you said, because of deals and tax abatements, and you want to create sustainable partnerships where the residents don't want to feel like it's being predatorial. Like, yo, we're getting something out of it. You got this company. I don't want to throw no names out there because it might be a company I'm mentioning. You know what I mean? But you got this company XYZ. They want to come to Newark. You want to give them a 10-year tax abatement. Are they employing Newark residents? Are they giving back to the community? And not just, for lack of better words, sucking the bloodline out of the city, taking, but not giving. So this is
Yeah.
important. So how you think the residents can be more inclusive in that decision making aspect?
I think the
How you
government
think?
has to set it up. I personally feel like the government has to set it up because like we have so much passion that when we try to organize, it just excuse me, bro. When we try to organize, it, it just feels like we angrier than we actually are. It's just our passion is just like I don't know, bro, because I've been around the world and I have yet to meet someone with like my passion. And I feel like the only place I see it is like really in North. It's a certain type of passion that we got that the residents are alone probably can't get it done. But I feel like our local government have so much authority that we can essentially do whatever we want. So I think that we need to just get people in there who are native Norkers who are just like, yo, this is what we want to do. And then that's how it gets done. Like
Do you, do you
everything in Newark is just political willpower, bro.
do you feel like when you look at yourself, not to pat yourself on the back, when you look at yourself, like, look, I went to Louis J. Spencer, I went to St. Benedict's Prep, I went to Dartmouth, I'm an Ivy League grad, I'm from the mud, I'm from the brick. I'm the guy that I am the return on all y'all investment. Y'all invested in me. Let me help bring my ideas, bring my thoughts. Do you feel like they're looking at you like that? Or do you feel like they're looking at you like you're trying to shake what they got going on?
It's probably, bro, it's probably both. But at the same time, I feel like there's a system that is above a lot of people. Like a lot of time when I be talking to our council members, they be looking at me like they get it, like they understand what I'm saying. But a lot of that just be because they want to keep their job, because they want to keep their connections. It's like a lot of it be bigger than like the actual people. And I'm just saying that my like forget all that. The fact that I'm saying I want to give the power back to the people, I think that should be more the focus than my storyline only because we've been doing the whole personality politics for a while. And I feel like we need to start doing system politics. Who got the best system that's inclusive to everybody? And I understand personality matter. Like that's really low key why like I may keep my hair because it's interesting, right? Like it's interesting. My name is Jhamar Youngblood. It's interesting. Like it always been like that in Newark politics. It always been like some type of show. So now I just want to kind of change that. And going forward, I want people to like evaluate candidates based on their intellect, based on their vision, based on how much integrity they got, and not how outspoken they are or how much they
Would
can
you,
like give a
let me
speech
ask
or
you this.
whatever.
This is a question I just thought about. Did you have the opportunity to meet former Mayor Sharp James in his lifetime?
No, I haven't met Sharp James, but my grandmother used to work at his campaign office on the Broad Street, and I used to be in there, but like I never met him.
Okay, okay. It was just a question I wanted to ask because one of the things that a lot of people still hold him in very, very high regard. If you ever met him, talked to him, had a conversation with him. Let's see here. Hold on, brother. So when you talk about like feeling the disconnect with City Hall, I haven't lived down there in quite some time actually. I never knew about a disconnect. I'm quite sure a lot of older people told you, it was never no disconnect. Why do you think the disconnect happened?
um, you gotta ask. I feel like you gotta ask the Raz Baraka supporters about that because I'm I- I'm looking around and like I'm learning who a lot of the people in our community are, and it's just like, oh, that person used to be a Raz Baraka supporter. That person used to be a Raz Baraka supporter. That person that's running for office, they used to be on Raz's team. So I'm learning that, and then a lot of them they got their own different reasons on what stopped them from being disconnected. But I think that's what I think for this current administration. But I think the systems in play breed that. I think that
Hmm.
breed that type of disconnect because of the because like the budget is not transparent, or there's words in the city charter that says may and not shall. When you say may, it's like you making it optional. When you say shall, it's like a requirement. So there's different things inside of our local system where our people in the administration sometimes are not doing anything illegal. They just aren't making the best decisions for the people. So that's why they just go in there and they know that. That's why they want the residents to stay as simple minded and unaware as possible so they can keep doing it time after time again. So systematic, so like it's a system that creates the current behavior that we have now.
Yeah, and understanding that ward system, it is not like a committee system, as you may know, like a town. It's a city that has wards where a ward has power, so to say, and they're not beholden to the mayor. And like you said, a lot of times people don't understand that, or they don't get a correct understanding and think that they have to, quote unquote, answer to the mayor, when in the reality is that you have to answer to the constituents in your ward. And when you talk about that language that's in the charter, it's very vague. You don't want to say outdated, but the reality is that the language probably needs to be redefined.
Yep.
Redefined. So, man, this is a very interesting conversation. I mean, you could probably talk forever, right? Okay, let me ask you a question about this housing situation. Um, we touched about affordability. Do you think that you see these buildings going up and affordability and the cost of living is high? And I spoke about it earlier about bridging that gap, trying to let the residents know, like, look, the cost of living is going up. Like, getting them to understand, like, do you think let me frame this question correctly. Do you think that the present leadership, whether it's the ward councilman wards, leaders, and the mayor, they're educating the people, the residents of Newark yet? Do you think they're educating them enough? Like what's going on?
Bro, they educating them on how to follow their rules. That's what they educating them on. Like that's the only thing that's being educated is here is what I expect. Here's what I expect of you. It's sort of like indoctrination. It's not education of their power. It's education over how to listen to me and my expectations. That's what I think is going on. It's
I have
not
a, I have
education
a,
of how you empower yourself.
yeah, because a lot of times, for example, I'm gonna give you a question, a hypothetical question, but I want to see what you say here. Thinking about planning moving to North, Jamar.
Wait, say that
Give me
again.
10. I'm thinking about planning. I'm moving down there, right? I'm gonna move to
hmm
North.
hmm
You're the mayor.
hmm
Sell me on moving to North.
The first thing I'll say is that We have an opportunity because of how outdated our government is. The mayor, we're in a potential situation where the mayor has a lot of power. And one of the things I want to do with that power is figure out a system that could give residents the power over the two most important things in our government. The budget, so how our money is spent, how decisions are made, and who gets city contracts. Because if you got control over that, you can take your city's economic future in your hands. So it's like you have the decision to be able to predict what the next 10 years of your city could look like. Like the power is going more to the people and less to a single like politician. So that's what I would say at a very, very, very high level that
Yeah,
we going to do something new that
that's key because if you are the city contracts up for bid or they go to specific contractors. Is it transparent where the bid for a city contract do all the constituents know? Like I know that they have the city hall meetings. Are they more closed door or are they open door meetings where bids for contracts is being given?
bro, they do all listen, they do all the tricks, bro. Like the those city contract, like so many people come up to me and tell me that the key to the corruption is through those city contracts, man. Like they, because no one knows who owns the city contract, no one knows who the company is. For instance, Roger Leone, I always say this story. He spent $200,000 um on buying a balloon on buying balloons. I don't know which town or which city it was from. I think it was from like somewhere like in Belleville, but it was $200 to a company from buying balloons. And he's like, who is this company? Like, who is this company that he just gave $200,000 of city money to? We
For
don't
balloons.
know. On balloons, bro, $200,000.
I'm gonna preface this question right.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will say it's corruption. I'm not gonna say it's corruption. But do you think that them not letting being more transparent, not letting people know what's going on, it leads people to assume it's corruption?
Well, listen, man, corruption is not always just like corruption is not always just like direct money. Corruption is like I owe somebody a favor, so I'm about to hire this person. Like there's all types of corruption. I'm saying the fact that the public is not aware and is not transparent, yes, it can make people assume it's corruption, but it's going to be another article that come out and another article that come out where it's like we got ample amount of proof that there's things going on. So like it's proof that it's corruption. So it's like when somebody like say it's corruption, like it's like I get it. There's probably not like there's probably a case where somebody thought it was corruption and it wasn't corruption, but it's like it's still going on and money is still being wasted.
You know, I laugh. I laughed when you were talking about it because I actually have a sister that I'm close with, and that's what she does is she tracks corruption in local government all across the country, and she
Mm.
never runs out of material. Like it's always something going on. Like to the point where I had to tell her, like, "Yo, are we gonna continue doing this?" She like, "Look, I keep finding it. My algorithm keep popping up with corruption. Somebody done did something." Do you think that we could? And I know this might be a broader question outside of Newark. Like, do you think that that will ever come to us an end where we could really bring back the trust of community and
That's
government?
that's my goal, my brother. I swear, like that's my main goal. That's my main goal to lead this movement in New Jersey's biggest state. If we could figure that out here, a group of black people figured out how you build that trust between the community and the government. Well, all our other communities that we got one of the most diverse cities in the world, bro. If we could get our people together to figure that out, that'll be world news, and we change the trajectory of our city instantaneously. And then our children got a city they can grow up in that made history, that's innovative. I'm just saying because we don't have nothing to lose, we might as well go big. That's all I'm trying to say. And we have the infrastructure to do so. So we might
One,
as well
one,
listen, we might as well do it. That's all I'm trying to say, bro.
one last question, right? What is your response when you walk through, when you go to the wards and you talk people, a lot of the younger people that know you that be like, yo, you really doing this? What's their response like when you talk to them? Like, look, I'm running for mayor now. Like, I'm ready.
Well,
Because
well,
they
you
try to
got
use your age and say you're too young, but the reality is that you're not too young.
and here, listen, thank you. Like, thank you for saying that because here is why like this is why we need a spiritual, intellectual and moral like revolution in this city because how can I be too young if we elected Cory Booker when he was younger than I am? And he wasn't even from Newark. He didn't have the big grandiose ideas. He didn't have all that, but we still elected him. So there's no way that I'm too young. They're like there's no possible way that people should be even saying that or listening to people who say that. So, and I forgot the second part of your question because I just got to address that part, man. Because
Yeah.
I said it
When
today. I
when you
said it
when
earlier today.
when you traveling, you doing walkthroughs in different wards.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you.
What's the response?
All right, so let me tell you. In the beginning, when I started running for council, I thought I developed like a solid community because like I kind of was an artist and I was a part of the art community. I was a part of the tech community. So I was a part of different communities down here in Newark. And when I first started telling people I was running for city council, like people legit laughed like initially, like they just like laughed in my face. But I think what happened was because running for mayor was always a part of like my mindset, like for like the last 10 years, I always figured out I was going to do it. But I didn't actually go for it until LaMonica left. And I was like, this would be the best time for me to actually like go in because I don't need to be a Democrat. I don't need to be a Republican. I could just like do my thing. So at first they laughed, but they saw the consistency, they saw the results of me running a campaign by myself. Now when people see me, I get a great response. It's always like something like, yo, like keep standing up for the people. I got you. I'm gonna support you. It's usually always great response. Well, downtown, it's usually always great responses. But when I go to the wards, sometimes people don't know me. Like I actually posted a video when I went out door knocking that I'm going to send to you, and you can see some of the responses on there. Like the first time I went out door knocking, I recorded it, and strangers don't even know when like the elections are. But some people that know me from social media, because a lot of my videos get like a lot of views, they come up to me and be like, yo, like I recognize you. But the strangers, that's a totally different response. So like now that I'm thinking about it, you asked me that question because that's the first time I answered it or thought about it. But it's both. Like strangers, like I don't know, strangers sometimes laugh too. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
Well, you gave me one more question,
mhm,
and we talked about your youth, right? Because I'm quite sure that before you decide to run, you educated yourself
mhm,
to an extent where you wanted to, you seen the polling sites and you probably seen firsthand what goes on. So I
mhm,
want to ask you a question. One of the biggest voting block, whether people really understands the biggest voting block is our seniors.
mhm,
Newark has a lot of seniors. How are you going to get them to vote for this young brother? Um, he's going against an incumbent mayor who most of these seniors knew his father. How do you? What's their perception when they see you? Because, like we say, North has a lot of seniors and they got a lot of senior facilities. And I know you went up in them. I know you've seen it firsthand, dealing with some of the issues that they got going on in them buildings. Mm, What's their response?
So my strategy is, if someone is gung ho on Ras Baraka, I don't even like entertain it, because then it's going to become something that it shouldn't become.
Hmm.
Like right, like that always comes with like just like opinions and people saying stuff that I'm just not comfortable with. So that's whatever. Like it is what it is. But his voter turnout was so low that just as much seniors as there were that voted for him, there's a lot of seniors out there also that just aren't registered or didn't vote at all. Right? Because again, he went from 22,000 to 18,000 to 14,000. And there's a lot of people who are not happy with him. So I think I just have to let his supporters go to him, and then we need to figure out some new ways to get to those other seniors. And our campaign has slowly started, but we officially going to start very, very soon. And we have some strategies that we're going to try to get to those people who haven't been active.
You know, they say a phrase. They say a phrase, a philosophy that they say, "Heavy is the head that wears the crown." And when you hear the constituents not happy with him, and then you're trying to get his job, right? And you put yourself. I know you done put yourself in his job and dealing with the problems, definitely the current problems that's going on with. And I'm not even going to get into ICE being in the city and, the policing, the Wally Bay situation. What do you think you would do if you was in his situation right now with everything that's going on?
I think the first two things is communicate way better than he's been communicating. Like communication is really key, and sharing them your decision making, like the reason why you could or can't do certain things, like what people's power is to get what they need to get done. I think just simple honesty, man. Because like you said, people want answers, and they want them, and they want public answers. Like you were at Delaney Hall, okay, but slumlords are refusing to give our tenants heat. Like where is the same energy for people who need the same type of attention? So why aren't you doing it? Like what's going on, Mr. Mayor? You are there to protect us. Why aren't you protecting us? So I think I'll start at those just basic questions, because I told you I want to live stream as much as I possibly can. And I think by doing that, conversations with different people come into play that the public got access to, conversations with my team members come into play, where the residents will always know what is going on with our government because the mayor is showing us.
Hmm. Well,
And again, that's a new way of thinking, that's a new way of governing, and that's what we should be investing in right now. Something new, because we don't have a choice. We can't keep doing the same things and expecting some freaking miraculous recovery from all of our issues. We got to try something new. And ingenuity and innovation is a part of our culture as Native Black people. Like that's what we did to survive. Why? Like when did we stop? Like why? And that's the question for the seniors as well. It's like when did we stop? Like that's our thing. Do y'all feel like we've kept that going with all the resources that we got? An airport, we got we got a subway system, we got a train, we got roads, we got Branchbrook Park, NJIT. We got so many partners and so much infrastructure that our people should be living way better than they are. We're not in the middle of like, see, I'm not even gonna say that, but we have great infrastructure and we're in a great location. We have great ex-Norkers that's all doing their thing. They got different partnerships. Our relationship with Shakur Stevenson. Why is City Hall beefing with the best boxer in the world? You tell me that, bro. Why? That's ridiculous. That alone is crazy. So this is what we voting on. We voting on a new culture in our city, or do we want to keep doing the same thing? because right now it's given like mafia. It feel like we ran by like the mob or something. Like that's how people be
And
acting.
you brought up Shakur Stevenson, and you know the story. I'm quite sure. Um, the city
I've
poured a
heard some
lot into
calls.
him. The city poured a lot into him. He's not somebody that just lived in North. He was poured into by the city. But great conversation, man, and really appreciate talking to you.
Wait, but
I had a
wait, but like
difficult,
you, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I had a very difficult time talking to you
Mm,
because you remind me of someone, and I'm gonna tell you off air who you remind me of. But you remind me of someone that was very dear to me, and very dear to the city of Newark at one time. Um,
mm.
and I wish you a lot of luck on your campaign. Is there any lasting remarks you want to leave people?
Yeah, listen, Norkers, I just want to tell y'all that this is not something that I am trying to do solely for me because I want power. I'm doing this because I love my city. And as someone who loves their city, I don't feel like it's being governed as it could be. Like, I just don't think our government is doing the best I think it possibly do. And I think someone that loves the city, I was looking around to see if people were going to step up. And I didn't see no one who actually stepped up, who I said, okay, I believe that they can go and do a better job. So I stepped up. And I'm saying if I'm crazy enough to try this and I'm have all this audacity, I feel like y'all should have audacity to support me because I'm trying to do it for y'all. And I feel like all of us, all awards, we can come together and do something very, very special in Newark. We just got to try. We just got to like get more civically engaged because we don't have anything to lose. So that's all, bro.
With that, stay on, Jamar. With that, we're gonna close out. Until next time, take care.